Welcome, friends. OG Murphy here with you, ready to get back into it. I know that it has been a little while since we've done this. I took some time off. Holidays are crazy for everybody. We'll probably be going off and on as we move. But we are getting ready to play some tabletop RPGs. We play Pathfinder 2nd Edition. That's all very homebrewed. The setting, the rule sets. The only thing that I think we keep exactly as is are classes. You know, we let people build their characters based on stuff that's in the text, and pretty much everything else we make up. We'll get into like a little bit of recap and all that stuff. Housekeeping. This is not a like made for stream deal. These guys are just nice enough to let me stream our game. It's not a particularly politically correct game. Everybody's just kind of like playing their own game, and so no offense is ever intended. Hopefully none is taken. We're just all trying to have a good time here, so hopefully you will do that as well with us. We're going to start off with a segment I call Thoughts and Feelings, which is where I kind of like ask the players how their characters feel about where they're at in the campaign. And it has a couple of purposes. It helps me as the dungeon master understand kind of like what is currently, presently, right now motivating their characters. And then it also allows them to kind of like get into the skin of their characters. It's kind of like a little warm-up for roleplay. So without further adu, let's get to it.
15 or 20
All right.
times.
I'm back. I'm live. I'm ready to
Hi,
go.
back.
Gave you a new one today. All right, guys. So we always start off with thoughts and feelings, which is how your characters feel about where you are currently, presently, right now in the campaign. For you guys, that is pretty much where you. Oh, what am I doing? I'm not rolling a d20. We're not doing that. That's not the right die. It's been a while. All right. I am number 2, so we're skipping down. Aaron, you are going to start us off. Toko, tell us about how Galfast is feeling about where he's at right now.
I don't know if Galfast would be happy or sad, but he just feels like he's surviving.
Yeah.
I think he's just starting to get the hang of it. He lives up in a city, but yeah, I guess his dwarven roots are coming through. So he's doing okay down here. Yeah, he's still trying to connect the dots and how he's going to use this to make money or smuggle things through.
Right.
That may be a little difficult. He has to figure that out, but maybe he'll talk to someone and figure that out soon.
Pick your victim.
Oh, okay. Yes, that was a finger noise.
Yeah.
Chris. Rowan.
All right. So Rowan's a little anxious, but he's not really sure what he's anxious about. He doesn't know if it's because he's, been trapped down here so long and he's close to the end, possibly, of getting out and seeing the fresh forests, or if it's just the immediate danger that he could be in. Worried about what's going on up there. The walls have been shaking. He doesn't know if there's going to be trouble coming or not. But he's a little on edge at the moment. Kind of hoping he's not going to be stuck down here for a whole lot longer.
Mic on.
But that's Rowan.
That's fair. I think he's going to get an answer to that soon. Who's your victim?
Tyler.
All right, Tyler. How's the test feel?
He's feeling pretty good, honestly. Yeah, Simone's good at manipulating, people, unwitting people. Much better than a Tusk is. So it's nice that, Simone is able to go with them. We're able to get up here so easily and do all this. He's a little worried about the party, though.
Yeah.
We're in the good graces of the kobolds, but the rest of the party is still probably KOS. So, yeah.
Cool.
Hopefully they survive till we find them.
Hopefully so. I believe your choice is made for you at this point.
Sure. I'll just say Anthony.
Great, love that.
Simone feels like he's in the middle of like a negotiation.
Yeah.
So he feels good. You know what I mean? It feels back to where
in his element for the first time.
Yeah, in a long time.
Yeah.
It feels like he's been on his heels. He feels like, or he's been on his heels. He's now on his toes.
Right.
And it feels good, and he loves the pressure.
That's awesome. Just as a super brief version of a recap and a little scene setting here. Well, I guess real quick, we also have a couple of extra characters. Kythar, who will be played by Soda whenever he shows up, and Reed, who's just not here tonight, so he's being played by Anthony. You're playing Reed tonight?
Me.
No, Aaron's playing Reed. Okay, great. Anthony's playing Kythar until Soda gets here.
I'm playing Kythar. Yeah.
Perfect. So Kythar and Reed are the two players, or the two characters rather. The party is currently split, with Simone and Atesk with their dragon illusions and dragon style companions as part of a shock and awe / negotiation, I think, as you put it. That's a great term for that. You guys are the only known presence right now in the Kobold City, while the rest of you who don't have any flying ability to get up there are basically at the bottom of the city, which is set into this cliff. With your magic rope and your tools and things like that, but you're all kind of huddled together, and just the entire city mobilizes and starts to rumble, and you hear squawking of kobolds and footsteps stumbling, and that so do the two of you at the top in the temple. The difference is you can see that you are where the kobolds are coming to. And so these kobolds all come flooding in to, this space. And this is, the view, of course, from the top. I admittedly was not sure last session if, how we were going to go. So I did create a battle map for the space. So I will I'm just going to activate it now, mostly so you can get a sense for physically where you're at, right? So you have come in up these stairs. The landing itself is all down here where you had the interaction, right? That's off the map.
I don't see it.
You don't see it. There's probably not a light source on, or maybe I haven't actually put your tokens on yet. So let me try that. Galfast, Reed, Atesk, Simone, Rowan.
I was also looking at my Eidolon and realized that I did not add all the stuff from my hand wraps, so it added I have a flame hit now, because unarmed attack, with my Eidolon.
Right.
He hits with flame, and then impactful.
Cool.
There's another thing that he does too. Just as a heads up.
Sweet. Sounds good to me. I personally have felt like Wilb has been a little bit underpowered, so I'm not worried about him being able to do more stuff. I'm excited about that for you. So you guys are here. Can everybody see? Did I miss anybody?
We can see it, but I think the door's closed. I don't know how deep you want to go in, but I'm just going to look at it on your screen.
Okay, yeah, you can look at it on my screen. I did open that door for you. But basically, and you're not here anyway, you know what I mean? This is just so you can see what's going on here. But this is this chamber that these kobolds have all flooded into through these doors that are flanking the space on either side. And that's where the kobolds have all come through. There are pillars kind of surrounding all of this place.
Hello there.
There are huge braziers. On the opposite side, there are a huge set of double doors, which have now been thrown open to reveal another natural stone staircase going up. And it's much wider than any of the kobold tunnels have been. We're talking a 20 feet by 30 or 40 feet doors, set of doors that opens into a tunnel that's that big as well. Interspersed throughout this room are a bunch of glass cases that are difficult to see because at this point they're all jam-packed and full of kobolds. But they're there, in this space. In the middle are these 2, 4, 6, 8 kobold priests, who have, been the ones who you've been doing this negotiation with. So the two of you guys are up here in this room that is absolutely packed full of kobolds. There are 2 lines, here and here where there are not kobolds, and they are just in the rest of the room, right? And so this is where we're gonna pick up. But because we ended a little bit with you guys, and a lot of this is happening concurrently, I'm gonna start with the ground crew who are themselves kind of blind and don't really know what's going on. The only other thing that you guys know is that you're in this, in this tunnel, basically, like tucked up against the open face of it, so you could like poke your head out and like see that broken mountain that you camped on last night, right? Like you're right at the opening of it, and it snakes deeper into the cliffside. You didn't see any kobolds like come past or come through this passage specifically, but Simone looked for a passage and like studied these holes and specifically put you in one that did not appear to be active. So that may have something to do with it. But you have heard lots of footsteps, lots of kobold voices, very excited sounding kobold voices, the clattering of objects being like thrown around, the tinking of metal, hitting stone, and the like thunderous sounds of, hundreds or thousands of footsteps like echoing off all these, chamber deeper in the chamber here. So we open up with, of the players who are here currently, Kythar, Rowan, Galfast, and you guys are kind of like tucked in here. You have one opportunity to give an unanswered call to your party members. What do you guys do as this whole place rumbles into action? How's my ground crew feeling? What do you guys thinking you're gonna do right now?
Ground crew?
And we pull out our matching rings. I'm gonna look at Rowan and say, something's going on. Can you can't speak the language, can you?
No, I don't speak. What do they speak?
Not common.
Wait,
Mic off.
I might be able to speak. Those are those little dragon-looking things, right?
Yeah, Simone said something about infernal.
Mic on.
Oh,
I think they talk Draconic.
That sounded
be
like
too.
a little too many consonants for you, Kaisa.
Oh, you guys really dumbed me down, didn't you?
You dumbed yourself down.
It depends on the week
My
with you.
intelligence is 0. Okay, so I'm average intelligence.
I know. A living fungus has a higher intelligence score than Kythar does.
It's a 0.
Do we think
so
he's
it's
like
average.
mentally handicapped? Like, should we Kythar?
No, your modifier is 0. Your score is 9 or 10.
That's funny.
I beg to differ.
Okay, so you guys are chit chatting. I will confirm for you, Rowan, that you do hear, if you understand Draconic, you do hear snippets of conversation happening in Draconic. Will you confirm for me? Is that a language that you have?
yeah. I didn't realize I spoke Draconic, but I do.
Wonderful. Would you roll me a perception check, please?
Yeah. Is it blind?
I believe perception are one of the few that are blind. Because if you see nothing and I bold-faced lie to you, the idea is that you don't know that I'm bold-faced lying to you. Yeah. So you do hear. You're able to like make out bits and pieces, but they're very fragmented. But you pick out words like prophecy, words like alliance, words like ancient. You hear the term retake mentioned at some point, and all of these are in an extremely like excitable term. Like imagine if a Chihuahua could speak. Like that is the level of intensity of like, you can hear the vibrations in these voices as the kobolds are practically shaking as they're saying this stuff. But you're like picking up these just like little bits of deteriorated conversation as they've echoed off these walls.
Okay. Well, they're talking about something. They sound really excited about something about an ancient alliance or ancient prophecy or an ancient retake, whatever that is. I don't know, but they're really excited about it.
You're not hearing the word like intruder or arrest or anything like that?
No,
Or Puto.
it sounds possibly positive, but I don't know what type of prophecy alliance or a prophecy retake is.
Well, I'm a fan of possibly positive. That we haven't heard that in a while.
But maybe they're sacrificing, and that's the prophecy. I don't know.
Well, hopefully they only have to sacrifice 2 then for their prophecy.
It's almost. It's like what we wanted.
Sacrifice what?
I have one message I can call back to a task with, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think I should say? Maybe something like, give a roar if it's safe to come up, or maybe they can fetch us. I don't know.
Maybe something. Maybe some way to let us know they're doing okay. All this racket, I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Wait, so down here we have. It's okay. Reed is also down here, right? Is that the only person?
Reed is down here. Yeah, there's the 4 of you guys, because you're down to a 6-man party total. So there's 4 down there and then 2 above.
Reed's gonna say, "Oh, geez, I've just been calling out to my guy. I haven't heard anything. That's what I think, guys. Jeez, we're a real pickle."
Aren't I young?
I know.
People keep saying supple. I don't know.
Every time I bend over, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Just young, man.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm gonna use my side of the message to attest. Does it say how? Is it like one sentence or what am I?
I think it's like 30 words or something. Just keep it short.
Okay. I'm gonna say, attest. How do we okay? Make a loud noise if everything is fine. Maybe growl.
27.
Can you get us up?
You fire off that message amid the roar of thundering footprints, and then we're going to flip back to our peeps who are, up above in the Dragon Temple. So you guys are standing there. Atesk, you've got your, I think, Dragon Illusion. Simone, you have Wilb, who is in his dragon form. This room is absolutely jam-packed, chock full of kobolds who are all essentially standing in awe of you guys. You get the sense that like many of them have never been in this chamber before, right? Like this is a huge deal for all of them. And you're standing here in this pillared room amidst these like high dragon priests and the like kobold laymen, as well as a bunch of like soldiers, and everybody seems to have like a weapon of some kind, and then like a bag of something, kind of slung over their shoulder, and it's very ragtag, but it's this is a group with purpose, right? And these doors opposite you have swung open, revealing a kind of natural stairwell that slowly slopes up and out of sight, which you've been led to believe is the like entrance to their holy path, this thing you've been seeking. Like these doors lead to it. So you guys are saying there, Atesk, you get Galfast's message that boils down to, we're okay. Mm-hmm. Let us know if it's safe to come out. Can you come get us? How does Atesk react? What happens in this moment as kobolds are still like flooding in from either side, staring at you guys expectantly? How does Atesk react to receiving Galfast's return message?
He's gonna lean over to Simone and say, Galfast just sent me a message. It sounded like he was yelling at me. Maybe he's stressed. I'm not really sure what's going on, but he asked us to make a really loud noise.
God forbid
Let them know we're okay.
God forbid that puto fucking does something, gets a little stressed.
Yeah, seriously. I think though I remember that Galfast. I think he speaks Draconic. Rowan speaks Draconic. So maybe we could convince the kobolds, because he asked us to go get them. Maybe we could convince the kobolds to like go get them and bring them up here.
I don't need to convince Then the shit, fool. I think they're convinced.
Then,
And I'm
you
gonna
know,
kind of
command some of them to go find him then.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
I'm
should I
gonna-
like shoot a fireball or something in the sky and maze the kobolds and then let them know that we're okay? We got the message. He asked me to do that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna turn to the nearest kobold like army that's like
Yeah.
around us, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be like in Draconic and be like, hey, Puto, go to this, hole and go get the rest of our party, fool.
I think what I'm gonna ask for here, because basically what you're just doing is you're describing one of 1,000 holes that you've seen one time. So I think I'm gonna ask for a check here to
Okay.
see how well you can like describe that. And unless you have a pitch for me.
For like
The knowledge of of like being able to describe this hole and like pick it out, like which one it might be. I have a tendency to. It's not really a diplomacy check. I know you're strong. Simone's a strong talker, so I think in this instance, I will take diplomacy out of you to just to like see how well you can describe this this spot.
won't
to
argue
this
with
guy.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're cool. You're cool. We're all getting back into it. It's a low stakes roll. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're like describing. Simone's describing exactly which hole he wants this kobold to go look at. And fortunately, because you're like in the back by the opening, this is one of the like winged kobolds who were like flying around in the swarm that you kind of like pushed your way through in order to get here. And he just like immediately gives you the like, fist across the chest salute, like turns on a heel and fucking like dives out of the hole and like flies down. Everybody in the hole underneath just sees a kobold just like sail past them, like through the open hole, and then you hear like kind of like a scrabbling sound. As you see like little hands at the bottom as he like kind of flits himself up and peeks inside. You guys were all on a stealth roll as you were hiding. Now I guess I will ask a test. Are you going to take any more actions before we resolve some of this stuff?
Yeah, is there a place in like up and away from where everybody's collecting where I'm not gonna like, actually I don't even really care. Is there a place just up and away, kind of in the back that I could just shoot a big flame breath fireball thing, whatever comes out of my dragon's mouth? I think he's a black dragon.
Yeah. Are you still out on the landing, or would you have like entered the fucking chamber?
I mean, I think we were out on the landing.
Yeah,
I'm standing near Simone, so
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
where we
So
were.
just kind of like back in the, because I mean you've got an open. It's all open behind you. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can blow off some fucking flame. I don't know if you need to do a spell or if you can just do that or what the deal is, but you take the appropriate character actions, and I will say yes, a spout of flame is more than available. So you guys in the ground crew see this like kobold pop his head up as this like belch of flame comes down from overhead, like 10 seconds after Galfast sends his message. And the kobold, I'm gonna say Galfast is closest to the end of the hole here, and the kobold makes eye contact with you first. And I don't know that Simone. I think Simone just said, "Go get these guys." And so this kobold like looks at you. He's like, "You are not kobolds," in a language you don't understand, Galfast, which I guess or Rowan would be anybody who speaks Draconic, because that's what he's saying.
Katar speaks Draconic.
So this kobold is like looking at kind of all of you guys, being like, "You are not kobolds."
We are followers of the dragon.
Yeah.
Cool. I will take a diplomacy check with advantage from either of you two who speak draconic.
You said what again? Diplomacy?
Diplomacy.
What's your diplomacy, Chris?
It is a plus 12.
Oh, go ahead. I got 0.
Excellent. You know, declare yourselves as like worshippers of the dragon, and the kobold says, you know, I'm here to collect you. Can you fly?
No, we can't fly. What do you mean collect us?
The bringers of the prophecy, the masters of elf and dragon, the harbingers of the new age have told me to collect you. I obey their commands without question.
Oh, and then I'm going to turn to everybody in the cave and say, I think Atesk and Simone sent this guy to get us.
Took them long enough. What the hell? I've been down here ages.
I know. And then I'm going to turn to the kobold and go, yeah, we can't fly. Can we just follow you? Or would that be too hard?
He like kind of like rolls his eyes, and as he like kind of like makes off deeper into the passage, and as he does, he walks literally like 5 feet farther in than you guys have been hanging out, and you see him like do kind of like a long jump where his wings kind of like flitter, and he like jumps like 5 or 10 feet across nothing, and continues on. He's like, follow me.
We should get going.
I'm gonna light a torch to see what.
Yeah, cool. Cause it's dark. It's dark.
Yeah. I'm gonna light a torch to follow him. Do I have to jump over 12 feet of something I don't see?
Roll me a perception check. Yeah, I mean, you can't see what he was jumping over. Like, he just seems to be jumping for no reason.
I'm gonna stupidly follow.
You take one step onto the space, the ground gives way, and you fall into a pit which has some spikes in it. I need a reflex save from you.
Fuck me. This is public because...
Yeah, everybody can see how well you're doing.
And let me know if there's an option
thank
for me
God.
to assist.
Perfect. I will say with that strong of a roll that narratively, Galfast, you can like catch him, and he can maintain some of his footing. As it's one of those things where like he falls into the hole and is like reaching up, and Galfast like reaches down and grabs him, and, like brings him to a halt, like as his feet are like right on top of the spikes. Your kobold guide turns around and he's like, "You have to watch where you're going."
Tell us where Trap is.
Huh. All of them?
Yes.
He like rolls his eyes, and as you guys are like snaking your way through these passages, about every 25 to 50 feet there's another trap. Like he's like stepping over tripwires and like skirting different walls and being like, don't step on this rock, and like the entire fucking like chamber is, and you get to a couple of different like intersections, and he's like telling you to stay close, and he's like, those are all dead ends, don't go down there, and like as you guys are kind of like making your way through, you are like slowly climbing, and as you kind of like make your way through the interior of these spaces, you pass different areas that were obviously at one point like guard posts where like you couldn't see them from the approach, but from the defensive side, you can see there's like slits cut in the wall, and in a couple areas there's like really thick smoke like belching out of these like side chambers where you see like forges running, and you're passing like big antechambers that are like full of tables that have different like crude, traps and gears and weaponry that are being like constructed on them. A bunch of these surfaces are like covered in this like graffiti where these kobolds have like, they're like kids drawing on the walls, you know what I mean, on like every square inch. And as he's, the farther you go, it becomes obvious to you guys like the more main of the path, like you were on a splinter of a splinter of a splinter of a splinter, and he's like moving you kind of deeper in through the like wider, more efficient paths where there are like less traps on them, and more graffiti because they're traveled quickly. You can see that most of this is completely empty. A bunch of these rooms look like they've been like kind of like pilfered through, like somebody has like really quickly like overturned everything and like scooped stuff off of, and there's like drawers that are open, and things that are like clattered all over the ground, and the few kobolds that you see are like extremely old or are like wounded in some way or are like obviously sick. And there are, for the sound of footprints that you heard and the like the number of kobolds you're seeing, it's like obvious to all of you guys that most of the kobolds are somewhere else right now. But the sounds of chittering kobolds are getting louder as you're moving through the space. So as you're being guided by this kobold, is there anything that any of you guys want to do as you're kind of like making your way through the interior of the kobold city? Otherwise, I'm happy to move you along. I just don't want to deny. I just don't want to be like, and you're here now, and somebody be like, but I wanted to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that jumps out to us, or is it exactly what Galfast would picture as a kobold city with graffiti and knickknacks and garbage?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what you describe. I will say that as you make your way up, it gets less slummy. You know what I mean? Like, it's clear that there's a literal hierarchy to this city, and the higher up you live, the better like quality of life you have and the better like stuff there is. So, like that is something that would be new, I guess. But otherwise, especially on these lower levels, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's very trashy. But as you are like making your way up, you're starting to see that there are more kobolds. And more importantly, these kobolds are starting to see you, and a bunch of them are like openly sneering and hissing at you guys. A few of them, it seems like the only thing that is like keeping this kobold from almost like getting stopped by anybody that you're passing is that the wings he have appear to be some kind of like status symbol. So he's able to, like, people are like giving him looks and with the rest of you guys, but like nobody appears to be like really saying anything to him. And he's kind of doing a little bit of like peacocking, puffing out his chest and making sure to make himself as tall as possible. He's got his, his wings aren't like folded up flat on his back. They're kind of like open and behind him as he's like kind of moving through this place. I will say that those of you who can understand Draconic are like disgusted that some of you guys are humans. Like the dwarf, is not as big of a deal, but like the fact that you guys are humans being led through their city, like a bunch of them are like spitting on the ground and like whispering to each other. You guys hear words like disgrace, despicable, hedonistic, you know what I mean? Like, unnatural.
Things that accurately describe the group, yes.
Right, yeah. And so, but I will say that it takes a little while until you start to get to, closer to the top. But you see that somebody looks and like points at the shield that Reed has, and hisses loudly, and like all the kobolds around hiss, and you like your guide turns and kind of like sees what all their attention is on, and he even like comes to a dead stop, and you can see that there's like some trepidation in his eyes where he like, but before he kind of gave you the dutiful soldier vibe, and now he has like switched into a really hardcore, like begrudging style. He's obviously very uncomfortable, but he just kind of like turns around and keeps leading you guys down your passage.
That's weird.
That sounds about right.
They don't like humans.
No.
I'm gonna put a tighter grip on my axe.
Well, maybe we should make them like humans.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'll be right behind you.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me.
He's gonna say, I wonder if they've heard the good news.
Have they heard the good word of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Iomade?
Stover pops in the call.
You rang.
Jesus Christ was used.
Was referenced.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are making your way and have climbed, the equivalent of 8, 10, flights of stairs, right? Like you have gone up and it's all been snaking. So you've probably walked for like a mile and a half in this city. Like if you had to estimate, like physically, the kind of corkscrew wandering path that you've taken, especially because every 30 to 50 steps you're having to like walk around or like step over some other trap or something designed to discombobulate you, and get to the top, and it's like elbow to elbow kobolds, right? Like the tunnels have widened out quite a bit, and it's like almost like a concert kind of vibe, right? Where everybody's like really packed in there, and your guide is telling everybody to get out of the way. That he has like orders on behalf of the of the High Dragon priests and the bringers of the prophecy, and people are moving out of the way. But they're like falling silent as you're kind of making your way past them. They're like openly hissing at you, and you guys now have this almost like audible wave that's moving through the crowd as you guys move, and kobolds can like see you and hear the hissing behind them. They turn around, they see you, they start hissing. So you've now got 30, 50, 90 kobolds hissing on either side of you as you're kind of like pushing your way past them. And you can see the like opening to a huge antechamber in front of you. Before we get there, my two boys at the top, I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway here because like everybody has your attention, but there's also kind of kobolds flooding in, and so there's a lot going on. So it'd be easy for you guys to kind of like you did have a little conversation, touch base amongst yourselves kind of thing. Is there anything that you guys would want to do while you're here? You've like sent this kobold out to go find your friends. Obviously you're kind of stuck here until he shows up with them. How would you guys spend that time here in this chamber?
That's a good question.
Because the priests are kind of like managing the soldiers and the people around. They're like talking amongst themselves. You know what I mean? Like everybody seems to have something to say to somebody. So you do have a little bit of leeway here.
I have something, but I want to give Tyler an opportunity.
I would love to hear what a Tusk would do as well. Yeah.
I think a Tusk in this situation would look to Simone and see what he would do, because I feel like there's a little bit of trepidation because the last time he had an idea,
You've had a successful idea since though.
That one really scarred me. That one felt pretty bad. Also, I'm not really sure what to do.
Yeah, I would like to study the dragon monument, or like the big dragon background that we're basically up against.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like where the priests are. Essentially, they mentioned a prophecy. I played into it.
Right.
But honestly, Simone has no fucking idea what they're talking about, right? So what Simone would like to do is get some context clues there. I mean, he knows it's a prophecy. He knows it involves dragons, and there's a big stone statue structure thing in front of him. You know, doesn't take a brain scientist, a rocket brain scientist to put two and two together. That something right there has to do with what they're talking about. So I'm gonna go study that.
Okay, sounds good. I know it is not your strength, but I feel like that also ties to your character, to not necessarily being his strength. So I'm going to ask for an occultism check here.
Yeah, sure. Hey, not bad.
Okay.
I feel like it's not bad.
As you are, and this isn't all like visual, like I'm going to tie in a little bit to the last session, kind of like I'm going to like step into Simone's shoes here a little bit with this, because it's like part knowledge check also. So you're out here and you're like reflecting on this conversation and you're like looking at this statue, which like does look vaguely familiar, and you've seen a few dragons, and it definitely doesn't look like Nox or Saltwing. You know what I mean? You're like, and it's weird that this dragon looks familiar when it doesn't look like the two dragons that Simone's ever seen. And he's like trying to put his finger on that, and he's like remembering the conversations that he had with the priests here, and you're right. Like Simone doesn't know what he's talking about, but he does remember the like parts that the priests really responded to, and when like Simone mentioned that like dragons had arisen in the great below once more, like that line got a huge reaction out of them, and
which was complete bullshit from Simone's side. Just
right, right. But that got a huge reaction out of them, and you like look around and you see that like the great below doesn't really have a sky, right? Because it has a ceiling, and you're like out here kind of looking at all of it. But you do realize that like this platform you're standing on is, big enough for not only you and Wilb, but a Tesk and his illusion dragon with room to spare. And like based on your best estimations, like this platform could support, because much like lizard folk, dragons never stop growing. As they get older, they just get bigger. This could support like an elder dragon.
Like toenails and hair.
Right. This could like support an elder dragon. So you're trying to like remember, what, but they're talking about like, you're talking about dragons returning to the great below. That had a huge impact on them. You name dropped the two dragons above, which got you lots of clout. And as far as the prophecy goes, like, you're not sure how, but you know that like the College of the Arcane Arts plays into that based on how they were reacting to a Tesk. And like you just like get a sense that like your general elfdom is all like, you get a sense that because you came up with this plan for the two of you guys to come up here, you like have this sense of like almost like vindication. You're like, it was a good idea to send the elves up here. Like, I don't know if this would have worked. Like, I think we needed to be elves in order to like have the prophecy. But like the details of it, it's like it's not a culture you grew up in kind of thing. But like you're putting these context clues together, and you're able to kind of like know the important parts of it. You're just not sure how they all fit together, right?
Was a bonus. Sorry, I'm typing.
No, you're good. You're good. Let me know if you need a repeat on any of that stuff. Meanwhile, as you're like out here looking, you hear the sound of like gas escaping or like steam moving through a pipe, which is really weird, and it grows like considerably louder. And you realize that the sound is coming out of the kobolds, and they're all like openly like hissing. And as as they do, you turn to see like your escort and your party coming through one of these doors, and every single kobold is reacting like super negatively to them. The one in front is like kind of like having to push his way through because people are just like being kind of obstinate. The priests hear all this; it gets their attention as well. They turn and you can see the one closest to you. Like they immediately start messaging each other. Like their fingers on each other. Message. Like those priests are fucking saying something.
I know what I want to do. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Sally.
I'm gonna use will to scare off the kobolds from hissing around them and like being generally, obtuse,
Right.
to them. And I'm going to, in Draconic, be like, get away from my prizes.
And I'm not even going to ask for a roll here because the low-level kobolds are going to get out of Wilb's way. You know what I mean? Like, he charges in there like the, half panther, half dragon he is. And fucking, like, probably honestly ends up landing on top because they're packed in here so tight. He's probably landed on, 3 or 4 kobolds in the process of, like, moving through there. And like pinned a couple of them down while the rest of them immediately like try to create space, but they just kind of like back up and like pack into the kobolds closer to each other. And there would be like a stampede starting, but there's not really anywhere to go. One of the cases like tips over and like crashes, comes skidding next to one of the braziers. The rest of you guys enter this chamber, which is as I've described. There are like display cases, braziers, doors opposite you that kobolds are flooding in through, a big opening on your right which opens out into the like place you camped last night, like the great below, and then a door and a big set of doors to your left that leads kind of like up and out of this space. You see your party, like Will jumps in here, kind of scares everybody off of you. As you guys make your entrance, where do you go? What do you do?
This is everybody else besides me, right?
This is ground crew. This is ground crew. Yeah.
Okay, ground.
As they're walking into this space.
So it's roaring and the crowd moving.
Like Wilb is
Start.
acting like a wild animal basically.
Okay. I'm gonna start where his followers. Okay, I'm gonna get on my knees and start like bowing down to Will, and hopefully everybody follows suit.
Kythar, Rowan, and Reed see Galfast, Rowan, and Reed see Kythar drop to his knees and start, "Not worthy!"
So it's not a bad idea. Yeah, I'll follow suit.
Follow suit. Rowan is the only player who's here? Yeah.
Rowan's gonna look at them very confused and just kind of stand there.
Cool.
Hey, Rowan is part of the act. I'm gonna whisper.
Oh, okay. And then he's gonna go on, and it's gonna look like he
I have
doesn't.
lower intelligence than that.
Well, there's intelligence and wisdom. That's what
And he's gonna start doing it, but it's gonna look like he's never done anything like that before. It's gonna look very uncomfortable to him doing it.
Getting on your knees is pretty easy.
Cool. I love that. I need each of you guys to make me a performance check, please.
I'm going to. Can I roll with advantage to use a hero point?
Absolutely, you may. And I would like to know what Reed is doing from whoever is controlling Reed.
I'm controlling
Oh. Oh, that's ugly. Multiple.
I feel like Reed would do the same, but he knows just what he's doing. Like he's done this position before. He's a pro.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me Reed's with advantage. Reed super carries you guys as far as, like, he is the kind of guide, the benchmark. The rest of you kind of go from, like, awkwardly, being, like, bent and twisted and, like, like, Kythar's literally, he's not kneeling, he's just, like, lying flat on the ground. He's, like, got his belly on the ground and his arms out. and he's just like laying there. Rowan was like standing there for like 30 or 40 seconds before he like looked around and realized what was happening, and then just kind of like dropped to his knees, like touched his nose to the ground. You know what I mean? And it's like Reed's kind of like hissing at you guys. No, you got on your knees. Get up, butt up. All right. Elbows, you know, and his
Archer lower back up.
Open your throat wide.
And you guys are all able to come across convincingly, right? As like being essentially subjects of Reed and this dragon religion or what have you, and you guys are able to kind of make your way over to the party unaccosted. What are the dynamics at play? Like, what does it physically look like as you guys are like standing together here now, packed in this room full of kobolds? Like, where are you standing? Who's doing the talking? You know what I mean? Like, you guys walk me through what you're. It's kind of like marching order, but the social version of that, right? Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be towards the back, and I'm going to kind of nudge probably Rowan first. Say, Kythor, don't you also speak the language? You guys should.
Yeah, but it looks like they've got it. And I'm going to point to Simone and attest.
And it'll be like, quiet dog, and I'm going to spit on him.
Oh! And then he's just going to immediately go to the back and just kind of stand there.
Will forgets he has acid fucking.
I know Rowan's face is all fucking burned. Oh my god.
Tusk will lean over to Simone and be like, "Hey man, shouldn't we be thinking about a way to get out of here and not about spitting on our,
That's what I'm working on.
work faster. Can't keep this dragon out here forever."
You don't tell me what to fucking do, okay, puto?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna look at the priest and be like, these putos are some of Nox's and Saltwing's greatest antagonists, going around telling people they're fucking not the best and shit. And then I'm gonna go, and I was talking to the priests. I'm basically trying to talk them up, saying like, what I'm trying to convey is like, hey, these are like my prizes. Like, I'm gonna present
the priest. No, yeah, I got you. The priest is point blank gonna ask you. They are your prisoners, then.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. He goes, yes, puto. They all like aggravated,
And he like kind of raises an eyebrow, and he's like, and you have not yet disarmed them.
Mm.
And I'm gonna be like, with the magic that I've obtained from the dragons, there's no harm from them anyway, fool. Why do you think I have not detained them either? Do you notice any fucking, shackles on him? These putos are under my command, and I'm gonna snap. Stand up.
Kythar stands too.
And I'm hoping the rest of the party follows.
Let's see what Rowan does. Rowan, what do you think?
I'm having another snack.
Rowan is.
We're gonna have to do a fucking reset on that one.
Yeah, no, because he, Rowan's gonna kind of snap up when he does it, just because he doesn't want to get spit at again.
Oh man,
That's great.
that's good. That's good. I love that. If everybody's gonna follow suit, you say to stand, they all stand. They, kind of like look at you, and they look at them, and they, and the priests say, they have such fine weapons. Perhaps they would like to donate them to the cause. Anyway, they would certainly, you would agree, that weapons such as these would do better in the hands of loyal kobold servants. And it's definitely got an air of like you've worked with nobles. They're game playing right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know totally what to say. And I'm gonna be like, fool. Fool. These will go to Saltwing's horde. He has given me his blessing, and I will repay him in kind.
I want a diplomacy check on this. I'm going to give you, it's going to be one of those rare ones, I'm going to give you a hard and fast DC on it. I want the roll public.
Okay.
This is DC 30.
I'll be using a hero point.
Diplomacy check
Okay.
to convince them that like this is above board, and that like Nox, like this is all planned. You know what I mean?
All right, here we go.
Okay, wonderful.
Hey.
That was a good use of a hero point. There's obvious skepticism between one of their eyes and another one speaks up. And I will say this, that you have not been speaking with, I only have one priest voice, so I'm not like bothering it.
Yeah.
But they've been like kind of popcorning and like answering almost in like one voice, you know what I mean? So another one like...
That's how I imagined it.
Yeah, so another one, pops up and you hear him like kind of like chortle and like chuckle a little bit, which comes out like awkwardly out of their like dragon mouth, truly embarrassing to be forced to lay down your arms at the feet of your enemy. And like he gets it. Like he's like, oh, I get it. You're humiliating them by allowing them to be armed until the moment they have to relinquish their weapons.
Joke's on you. That's my kink.
So like, you're all standing here. You can see that, throughout this conversation, the priests have been talking about like weapons and arms in a general sense, but their eyes are all focused on Reed's shield. Like that's what they're referring to. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're most focused on. And one of them speaks to this and is like, humiliations aside, it borders on hedonistic profanity to place such a sacred item in the hands of and he sneers, human. He said, surely the shield of prophecy would be best serving one of the members of the Old Alliance, as he like looks over at a Tesk in his like College of the Arcane Arts robe. And you can see like all the other priests kind of like nodding in approval. They're like, yeah, that's where it goes. That's who should be carrying it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. The artifact Puto will be taken from Nox's enemies by himself when I deliver him to his feet. This is not a luxury you shall take away from our glorious lords.
You get like that kind of like just a second hesitation where somebody's like making a calculated decision, a toothy smile, a very slight half bend, you know what I mean? Palm extended open in front of you, like, of course. But with this, they say we should all be grateful that the hour is here and that and that such loyal speakers, of the dragon kind, that Nox's harbingers and Saltwing's harbingers have finally returned to lead us to glory. Please. And he gestures to the doors. Lead us to glory. And the hissing has dropped to kind of a dead silence as you guys have been, having this conversation. And in true mob mentality form, they have completely 180'd and are no longer give a shit about any of that and are hissing and are instead chirping and making excited kobold noises. A bunch of them are jumping up and down. You see one of them literally faint next to you as these priests are referring to this time where you're leading them out. And he's kind of gesturing that way for you to do so.
And he's leading me towards the room again.
So this is the room that this chamber, this map is the room he wanted to talk to. He did not want to get you super far. He was just trying to invite you in, But of course, you had no way of knowing that. You've never been here before. So, you guys are like having this conversation on the steps. The priests are not in these positions. They're probably all lined up, here. And like they're gesturing towards these doors in the back, which are those like steps, which is that like you guys are at the top of the city and there are stairs going up, in this door back here. You know what I mean? Like that's why that's why they've split. I drew these two lines to indicate that, like this is the only path that the kobolds have provided to you through this space.
Gotcha. So that's the only way that we can really get past him anyway. Is that
Yeah, I mean, you could push past them and go into the flanking doors, but your buddies came out of, the rest of your party came out of one of these side doors.
Behind.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they came out of here.
Sorry, I couldn't see it for some reason.
I think it's because you were outside because it has real walls.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I sorry. I didn't know. Sorry. I was visualizing, but I understand now.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So I'm gonna be I'm gonna look at the party. I'm gonna you're gonna see like a quick smirk come out of my face when I look back at the party, like away because they're behind me, right?
Yeah. Now they are. I'm just moving them to the like where they came in and made their way across to you.
Yeah. Thank you. So it just helps me visualize it. And then I'm gonna give them a quick smirk, like like kind of like I'm having fun here.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna turn around and be like, "Lead the way, fool." Talking to the priest.
And he just said, and he simply replies, "I cannot. That honor is yours and yours alone."
And I'm gonna turn back at the rest of the party, and it'd be like, "Hey, Tess, get the dogs, fucking over here so we can make this journey out of here." And I'm instructing Tess. Yeah.
Okay, come on. Let's go. Prisoners.
You guys... there you go. Sorry, prisoners. How are you reacting?
Yeah, I'll walk up, and I'll kind of I'll try. Okay, so Galfast is going to be trying to play the part, like he's going to have his head bowed and pretend like he's a prisoner, but he does have just a regular performance of -1. So
right. So he's probably not that good at it.
We're not selling.
Right.
This is purely flavor. I'm not trying to get myself.
No, I know it. But like Reed is walking through, hitting himself in the head with the plank exactly on cue. He knows all the words to the song. Meanwhile, Galfast is spinning his like the fucking pizza advertising guy, trying to blend in. I got you.
And everyone would know that I look like a fool.
Cool, love that. Rowan and Kythar. Anything in particular you guys are doing, or are you just kind of noiselessly following here?
Noisily following.
Rowan's noiselessly following.
Cool. Just wanna. I hate moving people through scenes without giving everybody kind of a voice. Okay, great. Yeah. So then you guys make your way out of this chamber through these double doors, and you've seen like very crude graffiti as you've made your way through the city. Everybody, the two elves have only seen the big antechamber and the huge statue outside, but this is like I don't know how to describe it. Like walls that have carvings in them rather than graffiti, right? So they're not like full 3D statues, but they're like carved into the wall. And so and they depict, as you guys are making your way through here, they depict like a couple of different things. One of them is like a dragon bursting forth from like underground, and it's not just one dragon, it's like a million dragons, right? And they're, and the symbol afterwards, then there's another symbol that matches the symbol that was on your map by the Kobold City, and then there's another symbol that looks like the cracked mountain that you camped on last night. As you continue making your way through, there are, depictions of dragons like burning cities to the ground, and like mountains of like dead humans and destroyed warships. There are depictions of a like magical artifact of some kind, not something made of metal like the armor set that you're looking for, something that perhaps is naturally occurring, more in its raw form, crystalline in nature. And there seems to be like, a ring of like shamans dancing around it. There are just miles and miles and miles of this, and it becomes clear as you guys are coming through that it is a like visual history of every lore, story, history, fucking significant event, bedtime story that like any kobold has ever told anybody. Like these are the annals of the kobolds, of the kobold peoples, right? So you guys are making your way through here. Immediately behind you are all of the dragon priests, who are the kobold priests, who are pretty much incessantly messaging each other. They're having like silent conversations back and forth. It's relatively subtle, so those of you who aren't casters or like paying attention to them might not notice it, but for sure any of you who are able to cast spells, would be able to see that they're being subtle about it, but there is a lot of chatter happening between them. Occasionally one of them will like fire a message back. You'll see to another kobold who will like start falling farther back through the group. The kobolds behind them are the winged kobolds that are like making their way through, and there's like a big pack of the winged kobolds who have the kind of like better armors and weapons of everybody. Behind them are kind of like traditional soldiers. Behind them are like artisans. You can see have like big tool belts and things around them. And then there's just like huge mobs of people, in the back. But this journey is it's about midday. And you guys are like going to get to the point to where you need to camp before you get to the end of the tunnel. So we're talking like, 4, 6, 8 hours later, you're still moving. So throughout that space and that time, I'm happy to just say you walk for the rest of the day, get to a point where you need to camp. But I'm going to ask my normal question. Like, is there anything that you guys would try to do, learn, say, ask, what have you, as you're kind of making your way up through these stairs that continue to ascend? You're basically climbing stairs nonstop all day for the next like 4, 6, 8 hours.
And the priests are still behind us?
The priests are still behind you. They are like allowing you guys to like lead the way through this. And they are, in order: priests, flying kobolds, artisans, kobold mob. No, sorry, soldiers. Soldiers between the flying and the artisans. Good. And
can I move up? So at some point during this, so I want to do one check.
Yeah.
Okay, so for my first check, so I don't speak the language, obviously, but you said that there are
more pictographs than words. So
fantastic. I'm looking for something kind of specific.
Okay.
And you're just walking, so I probably have the time to just stare blankly at the wall.
Yeah, push.
I'm looking for something that would jump out to me, like a false prophet, or like something where it looks like all of the kobolds are leaving their tunnels and then going back down almost immediately. And what I'm trying to think of is, we're going to be, and I'll probably be telling the party this, at some point we're going to make it to the surface. What's our plan? Are they used to, being told to go, oops, we read the runes wrong. The dragons aren't here. Go back down, kind of thing. Any thoughts?
Quiet, dog! As you hear me yell from the front of the...
Okay, and just to be clear, Ateska's now walking with us now, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Unless you...
Walking ahead of you.
I mean, that does bring up a valuable point, Atesk. Your spell only has so much time on it, right?
The dragon spell, yeah, it does.
Cool. So you before we get to the end of the hours and hours or what have you, you guys like walk through this threshold and begin this journey. You know that in 5, 10, 15, I don't know, whatever your fucking time is, your spell's going to run out. How is the test planning on moving forward as you guys are kind of moving through the space?
Hey man, so he's gonna lean up to Simone and be like, "Hey man, so the dragon spell's about to fade. So I'm gonna have the dragon like fly off into the distance at the last minute and then vanish. I don't know. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me, Puto. Just fucking hurry up.
All right. And then the dragon's I'm just gonna have the dragon like, just kind of like haphazardly sort of jump out and fly out in the distance and then kind of just fly, and then I'll dismiss it when it's totally dark.
Cool. And I'm assuming you're trying to do this subtly.
I mean, yeah.
Cool. I'd like to play to your strengths, but because you have a bunch of really well-trained people behind you, I'm going to need a DC 30 Arcana check in order to end your magic in such a way that the experienced magic users behind you don't see you obviously end a summon.
Okay. I'm gonna burn a hero point.
Love that. Go for it.
And is this a private or a public roll?
This is a public roll. I figure if I announce the DC ahead of time, it adds to the drama if we make it a public roll. So
That is fair.
these are a la Dimension 20 Box of Doom.
I'll take it.
Nice. Yeah. So
Never fails.
absolutely deathly, you like send off this dragon. With like a slight adjustment of your robes, you end the spell in such a way that no one would be able to tell you were doing anything more than like picking at a thread in your sleeve. But your dragon kind of like goes off, disappears. Thank you for that. Circling back, Galfast, did not mean to cut you off. You were in an hour later, Galfast is looking at these walls and is, turning to you guys being like, hey, what's the plan when we get there? Can we just say whoops and everything's cool? And, Simone said, quiet, dogs. And that's where we are right now.
I love it. It's so nice.
He's gonna pay for this.
I know. You guys are going to be at some point unrelated in your adventure, like a week or two or a month or two down the line. Simone's going to wake up to a sock being fucking pulled down over his mouth, straps over his body. He's going to fucking start beating.
You're going to wash me to put soap in a bunch of pillowcases and wash me the fuck out.
No, I'm going to do more sly. I'm pissing in this cup of coffee.
There you go. Why? Maybe you do a little bit more than that in this coffee. And why is my coffee so chunky today? All right. So, Galfast, you've been kind of shut down by Simone, but you're still inspecting these walls. You're looking for, like you said, a false prophet or something like that. You're trying to determine basically if there's ever been a mistake in prophecy before. Kind of is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Cool. Go ahead and roll me. I'm going to take an occultism check from you probably on that one. I don't know what your occultism is. Ooh,
It's a flat roll.
it's a flat roll, but at least you rolled high. Yeah, so you're looking at it and like every single one of these prophecies ends with like there's a pattern, right? Which is like, because kobolds have emerged, it looks like a couple of times. You're able to like identify this happening at least once or twice before. And in both of those instances, the pictographs seem to demonstrate that the kobolds make their way to the nearest population center, decimate it, enslave the people that are there, and then move to the next population center. And they like rinse and repeat this process until like they're defeated, or in some cases the prophecy just like ends, or the story just like ends. You know what I mean? It'd be like the kobolds come up, they take over this city, they take over that city, they've almost got this entire continent, and then like the story ends, and like a new story picks up after that, and it looks like it was intentional. You know what I mean? That cutting off of the story, and which you're able to infer like probably means it went badly, and they just like didn't want to, like, it's already in stone, so you can't erase it kind of thing. So they just like stopped telling that story and started telling the next one upon defeat. Like, there are no indicators that the kobolds have ever been defeated.
Okay, they've never been defeated.
But that's in part because they stopped telling the story if it looks like they're going to be defeated. You know what I mean?
Okay, got it. And then just so I'm following, so, and then on the prophecies themselves, what makes them rise up? Are they being led by like a dragon? Does this happen every time? Are they used to this?
Yeah, 100%. There is always a dragon involved. You know what I mean? Like, kobolds do not rise up on their own. They rise up because there is a dragon somewhere. And in some of these cases, because you rolled fairly high, I'm going to give you an extra one. In some of these cases, like this is the this is like the holy path that the kobolds walk, and you can see that there are indications that like sometimes dragons, like sometimes it very rarely is it this strong where every kobold mobilizes all at once. A lot of times it's a dragon shows up, it kind of like calls to kobolds, a bunch of them kind of like pick up and are like, this is what I need to do, come down the holy path and like go join the dragon up above. But like there are no stories of dragons starting in the great below and leading them up. This appears to be the first time that's ever happened. Every other time it's dragons that are above kind of like calling to kobolds or like communicating through messengers, and the kobolds kind of just like feel almost like a hive mind internal draw like inexplicably towards these dragons. And it's not every kobold every time kind of thing. But there's always a dragon involved.
Okay, I think I'm going to signal to Simone and say, Puto, sire.
That's the appropriate way to address him, for sure.
Okay, and then,
yeah, I'm gonna be like, what dog?
in a hushed tone. So I want to make sure nobody's listening to me. But I'll say, obviously, in common. Actually, what languages do you speak, Simone? I would know this, but
you guys would for sure know unless it's a secret for whatever reason. I think you can hit that party sheet, and you can just hover over languages and see who all speaks that language. It looks like you guys. I don't see anything else that you guys share.
Yeah, I'm the only. Okay, anyway, so in common, I'm going to say, hey, we should think about a plan when we get to the top. One thought that I'm having is they've never been led up by a dragon like this before. That we could have the smaller kobolds turn against the sorcerers at some point. They've probably never seen a dragon before, at least not up this close. I mean, you could pretend to be like the Messiah from below. What do you think?
I'm gonna be like, Puto, I feel like I'm already stretching my means here.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you guys think we should do when we get to the top? What are the ideas? We're gonna get up there and they're gonna say, where's the great return of dragons?
Quiet, you fool! Another outburst like that, I'll have to spit in your face again.
No.
I know, Rowan, 3 steps back. No.
I think I'm just gonna stare at a desk and say, "You've contributed to this."
Quiet dog.
Oh my god.
Pythar is so red in the face, he wants to bust up laughing, but he's staying stone cold
Oh
still.
my god. This is so funny, you guys.
Well, we know who the Doms in this fucking group are.
David, I assume, based on what you said before, if I were to cast message,
They will. I mean, they might
They would
clock.
notice.
Message is much easier to hide. All you have to do is point. But yeah, I mean, they might notice it. I think I'll give you message. I think that's I think because it's a cantrip. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to hide. You know, what are you thinking you want to do?
So I'd like to message the party and be like, no, for real though, we should find like a way to like trap them down here. So keep your eyes open. So everybody in the party.
Say, have you ran that by the king, or are you just off on your own now, Tesk?
I'm going rogue.
This is like a game of telephone. See, Simone, are you here? Can you hear me?
Are you in the group chat yet?
I don't know. I don't know. Can I talk? Can I talk?
I mean, I'm torn because there are specific spells called group telepathy for exactly this situation, and I would hate to like nerf somebody who might have that kind of thing. Here's what I will say: because we're talking about 6 hours, like it's not happening all at once, but you guys can talk freely as if it's a group chat. Just know that it takes an extra hour or two as basically Simone, hits Kythar and says, Galfast says this. And then, like you have kind of interpreters kind of thing. But like for practical reasons, yeah, you guys can just talk like it's a group chat and you have enough time to do that.
Okay. And then, sorry, what did you say again?
I was saying if you agree with Atesk's plan to trap them down here somehow, which is basically my plan too, which is so interesting that Atesk is trying to sell it as his own.
And I'm gonna be like, wow, that's a really good idea, Atesk.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be like really stuck on the fact that he thought of that, and how good of an idea that is. And then it'd be like, can I do a perception check to see the kind of area we're in now? Because it's been several hours.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to ask for that perception because it's all identical. It's a big, it's a big tube basically that's like approximately the same size as the like worm tubes that you were in, but obviously very different. Like I'm not implying this was made by one of those worms. I'm just trying for like a size, subway size, maybe a little bit bigger. And it does kind of like get a little thinner in places and get a little wider in places, but it's basically
just like me.
Yeah, it's basically this kind of like uneven stone steps leading gradually up with these, with this like iconography on both sides, but like there really is not a ton to see. If there's something specific you're looking for, I'll just tell you if it's there or not. You know what I mean? Like because you can see the whole thing all the time as you're making your way through. I will say that like the air is not at the end of your 8 hours or what have you. The air is not as thick, not as damp. Like it's something that your characters probably have stopped noticing, but like as you get closer to the surface, the air is like thinning out and becoming fresher, and you know what I mean? It's like you guys are able to kind of like tell that you're making ground, even though it's just kind of endless miles of the same as you go.
Yeah, I probably would be looking like specifically for any like weak points in like the rock wall, because we are going through the rock still, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a tube. Yeah, it's all rock. Yeah,
exactly. So I'd be looking because if it's the path of the ancients, I'm assuming it's an ancient path, right? It's kind of implied.
Yeah, I mean it's hewn. It's made dwarven style, right? Like not like like the steps are just cut from the rocks, and the carvings on each side are just carved from, like, it's just a natural rock all the way around. So it's all kind of like equally vulnerable. Like there are definitely like I said places where it thins out, where like if you were trying to collapse it, it would be easier to do so in those places. But even where it's thin, we're talking about some place that's like 15 or 20 feet wide compared to 30 or 40 feet wide. Like it drops to half the size, but it's still a fairly wide. Like even in the thin points, Will can still pass through in his in his large form, no problem.
Gotcha. So how? I know it's wide. What about how tall?
I mean, about the same, fairly round. I had described the doors initially as like 30 or 40 feet tall. So I think that height pretty much carries through, again, with some variation, but I'd say the like lowest points are probably still 20, 25 feet tall, and the highest points are, 35, 40 feet tall.
So we'd have to do a big ass cave in.
Yeah, it'd have to be
So
huge.
basically-
It'd have to be huge, right.
Yeah.
Not impossible, though. Could be good, could be fun.
I'm gonna ask A-Test, be like, don't you have some like wall spells or some shit, Puto?
No, I don't have any wall spells.
You
I
don't
mean, no, I don't have any wall spells.
I'm like, Rowan, do you have any wall spells, fool?
I can make a wall of shrubs.
How tall, fool?
I don't, not very tall.
About 20, 25 feet?
No, not that tall. I think I can get about 5 feet tall.
These putos couldn't fly. That'd be useful, but...
Yeah, a bunch of them can fly. Not all of them, but a bunch of them.
What if we just blow up the cavern? Can we just like blow up the cavern? We have like explosives.
Okay, looking around, are there supports? Is this just a tube, or is it like
It's
like
just
mine
nope, just a tube. No mine shaft supports anywhere. It's a big tube.
I feel like. Can I do a check real quick? I'm a dwarf. Can I see, as they're talking about causing a cave in, looking at the rock? Do I see any easy way to cause a cave in here?
Give me one of your underworld knowledge checks here. And Rowan, if you're referring to Wall of Thorns, it does specifically call out if you wish the wall can be of a shorter length or height. I'm going to go ahead and say that it can also be taller as long as you're willing to make it shorter. Like the wall itself is 60 feet long, so if you want to make it 10 feet higher, you need to make it 10 feet shorter. So you know what I mean? It's like you can play with your... It's almost like you have building blocks to make your wall out of rather than it having to be in a line. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
More like a square footage.
Exactly.
I'm gonna use a hero point.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we have some of Arthur's stuff?
You guys have all of Arthur's stuff except his rifle.
Does there happen to be any explosives in the man who uses explosives? I don't have access to his stuff.
I think I can.
Curious.
I think I can make him configure ownership. All players owner. Okay, so all of you guys should have access to Arthur now.
I doubt he has explosives.
Soap.
You would be correct. He has no explosives.
You do the closest things to explosives you find is probably his whatever his like, horn of gunpowder is probably the closest that you get.
That's not explosive.
Yep. So there's that. I made the comment about the wall. Aaron, I feel like you said something. Did I miss something that you said?
I had asked as a dwarf if I would know of any way to cause a cave in,
Yes.
looking at the
Perfect.
hewn stone, and then I rolled.
And then you made your underworld roll. Let me give me a thought here. Yeah, dwarves definitely would be the advantage there. Yeah, I'm gonna say that that Galfast sees that like what you're describing is not impossible, but that like your best bet is probably one of the places where the tunnel like comes around a bend, where it's coming like around at a sharper angle. Is probably your best shot at caving it in, because one of those things like if you take off rock from the ceiling to have it collapse onto the floor, that's gonna put a hole in the ceiling where that rock was. You know what I mean? But if you kind of like blow up the edge of one of these corners, it'll just kind of like spread out and fill that space a little bit more efficiently. And there are a number of those because it does kind of like switch back a little bit as you're kind of like making your way up, switch back and corkscrew in some places. So like Galfast sees that as his best bet, but like he also is used to, as a dwarf, like he's used to working on a crew. Like no dwarf goes into the mines by himself because it takes 5 or 6 dwarves to like get shit like that done. And so like absolutely possible, probably best to do it on a corner. I would even go so far as to say that you would know how to handle gunpowder in this context. Like, I don't know if you could shoot Arthur's gun kind of thing, but you probably could figure out how to, like, dig a hole, pack some gunpowder into it, light it, blow it up, and get some area of effect off of it. But, like, all that takes time. Like, Galfast looks at it, he's like, is it possible? Yes. But, like, I'd have to, I'd have to spend, even if I could fly, I'd have to spend an hour prepping all this space before I hit go, and somehow do that, like, unnoticed, right? But yeah, super possible.
Okay. Yeah, I'll mention that. I'll say, maybe around one of these bends would be the most, we get the most bang for our buck to destabilize. And we have to sleep soon.
I'm going to tell you guys to be like, Putos, I'm trying to keep up this charade. So this is up to you guys to fucking figure this out.
Yeah, if it were up to me, I would either try to convince all of the kobolds to turn against the priests, or maybe tell them we're going to sleep for the night, for them to camp a ways down away from us. Then maybe we could ask for tell them to send up 10 kobolds that are looking to prove themselves. We have a special task, and maybe those 10 during the night help us collapse a part of the tower or a part of the tunnel.
That's a lot.
Those are my thoughts. All right, well, hey, the group chat's open.
I got
Battery
us this far,
critical.
fool. It's your guys' turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I made 1 entry.
Yeah.
Actually 2. And a Tesk, I swear to God, if you steal my idea.
Just, hey, why don't we get like 10 kobolds and
I think we got 12 kobolds.
I love it. Now we're cooking.
I know, best idea I've heard all day.
Even more zing and pep.
I support the sleep. The sleep, get the 10 kobolds to do our bidding. Well, that sounds good.
I will say this. As the day goes on and you guys are like working out this plan, you get to a point where the tunnel opens up, right? And becomes kind of a big flat. And you can see like remnants of campfires and this and that. And it's definitely not designed for this many kobolds, but like a bunch of them are going to be able to fit in this space. But it's this like it opens up into this big kind of flat with three of these tunnels like ahead of you, like one in the middle, one on the left, one on the right. The priests tell you like this is where we camp for the night, and we'll make the rest of the journey after we've had rest. And they. And they're pretty standoffish. They're willing to let you guys kind of do your own thing. If you want to talk to them, you have access to them. But you guys have gotten to the end of your journey part. You can still talk and plan as much as you want with like some if you're quiet, and use message, you have some expectation of privacy. But you're still within eyesight is the important part of everybody. So just remember that. And you're in this big open antechamber with like kind of 3 possible ways to go. ahead of you, and they're like, we'll continue after a rest and finish the journey, fresh and renewed.
I'm gonna say, I'm like, we do not require any assistance. Go back to your city, and our lords will be with you once we get back to them.
Okay, so to be clear, you guys showed up in shock and awe, told them it was time, have walked for most of a day's journey into the tunnels, and you're now telling them to go back to the city. I just want to make sure your DM understands.
So my thought, I know it sounds stupid,
It's,
but my thought is that this total arrangement took an hour. So are we assuming that the city is up to dragon snuff for what is required of them? I would imagine to mobilize such a large city, one can argue that it would take days, weeks.
Yeah, if it was, and Simone doesn't really have any context on that because he was up in the temple the whole time. The rest of his party probably has some added context on that, but as far as I know, they have not shared that with him yet. So that probably is Simone's understanding.
Yeah. So then I would be like, I'd look back at them and be like, go prepare your city. We've only been here for, what, hours? The whole city can't be mobilized by now, surely. Take your leave and prepare your city for the dragon's entry.
And they just kind of like look at you confused, and they're like, "But the dragon, you brought the dragons. We don't need that city anymore. You're leading us to take over the great above. We're going to every city will be our city. That we don't need that place anymore."
And I'm gonna kind of loom over them and be like, "And you have full armor, weapons, food supply, logistics. To have this army, you must be more prepared than what you think."
And they're like, "We've marched at the very least, the troops need to rest. We can't turn around. We've marched for a whole day. No matter what, everybody needs to. They're not going to go anywhere until they've rested, and they're like us, very excited for the coming of the new age."
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're like they like don't get it. They're like, "You're leading us to salvation." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're Jesus taking us, or you're Buddha taking us to Nirvana. You know what I mean? Like, what do we need that stuff for anymore? And they tell you as much. Like, the sick and old have the city now. It's theirs until they die.
So I'm gonna kind of lean back and be like, the impression I got of your race was of laziness, of misguidedness, and of easily buffoonery. Maybe we have judged you too harshly.
They say, and I'm assuming you're still talking to the priests.
Yes, I'm talking to the priest.
The priests are pretty open with you. They're like, we are the wisest of the kobolds. Like, buffoonery is a word that you can use to describe many of the dregs of the lower levels, and he's using like these derogatory terms for like people who live, on the floor of the cave, and he's like, but they are useful when given purpose, and you have given them purpose. They will never be more useful than they are now. And their lives will be, and he like refers to them as currency. Like, their lives will be spent in conquest towards the great new era. And it's like even he's referring to them as like pawns who are going to die for the cause. He's like, you're right. They're dumb. That's what they're there for.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So then Simone's gonna be like, he goes, great. He's like, this is going better than expected. Our Lord shall be rewarding me in kind. And you can see, I'm going to try to make it seem like like this is a you know, overall a good thing. That's how I'm trying to spin this as like a, hey, this is the information I was given. You guys are all idiots, and we basically have to like hold your hand through everything, and kind of force them to tell me. That's how I'm trying to save this, I guess, right? And force them.
I think
to,
I see
like,
what you're
you know,
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like to be like, oh, like this is his perspective previously.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and the priests tell you, like, you know, in no uncertain terms that, like, it is there traditionally, it is, and they said this during your first encounter as well, like, traditionally, and he pushed back when you're like, we are here to, like, impose the will of the dragons and, like, you know, speak for Nox. Like, he pushed back, he's like, we, the dragon priests, are the ones who speak for Nox, and we, the dragon priests, are the ones who speak, you know, on behalf of dragonkind. And like you having a fucking dragon is really what got you the edge in that conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so like there used to be, like, exactly like you're saying, there used to being the ones who like give the instructions, give the interpretations, and they you know, and as a kind of like general, you know, as like a general rule, they tell you that like that this is, you know, that this has never happened before, and they have been like, that many of their people have been eagerly awaiting this day. You get the sense that they probably would not have marched right away if you like he's like reiterating your own words back to you. He's like, you said it was urgent, you said we all needed to go on the path right now, so here we all are on the path right now. Like, you know, many of the kobolds need direction, and, you know, we are grateful. And he's like, and we're grateful to you to be providing that direction for us, to be like providing that direction for us. You know, he's like, we look forward to standing in the shadow and the presence of the great ones, like referring to the dragons, and they, yeah, like we're looking forward to this. You know, like we're happy to serve. We want to get there. You know what's up. Like, you know, the dragon sent you. Like, we will defer to you, but like, you know, you get the sense that they're like, this has been set in motion. Like, this is, you're like, this is it. Like, we're going now. Like, you can't unring that bell. You know, he probably gives you a dragon version of that phrase. Like, you can't unring that bell.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So then Simone's gonna be like, go and you know, and be with your men, or with your kobold. Rest for the night. We shall continue the journey in the morning.
Cool. And they're happy to hear that. You can get like a sigh of relief out of them. Like, some of the confusion kind of washes over their faces, and they go back to, you know, their normal kind of like stoic, crinkly nosed, you know, arrogant selves. We'll pick back up with you guys camping, you know, working through whatever logistics you want to work through, you know, making any moves you want to move, and then we'll like pick up, we're going to take a break real quick. So let's take 10.
Cool.
It's 9:03, so we'll call it 9:15. We'll all come back.
Sounds good.
All right, see you in a few.
Good. You are I don't know. For me, it sounds lagging a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Let
So
me.
just be prepared.
Okay. Any better?
Battery critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds normal.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Then we're good. We're good.
Tyler,
we're good.
you want to
Boom.
get a synopsis here?
Oh,
Wanna
Anthony,
give
I
us
was able to get a refund.
Oh, nice. There you go. Download on Game Pass.
I'm live. Welcome back,
Hi,
guys.
live.
Hi. You guys are kind of set up camp at this point, right? Like you're at presumably the perhaps halfway point of this journey. You know, they've kind of implied that you can do the rest of it in the following day. You know, you're camping amongst and amidst, you know, thousands of kobolds, and a bunch of them are camping like down the tunnel in the direction you came from, because they just like won't all fit in this big open area. But you know, everybody is giving you, despite the fact that everywhere they're shoulder to shoulder, they're giving you guys a solid like 10-15 feet around kind of your campsite, where, you know, like nobody's kind of like invading your space. So you have, if you like keep your voices low and whisper, you have kind of this like reasonable expectation of privacy. But you know, everybody's within eye shot of each other in this big open space. So there is kind of that element. At the end of the day, a bunch of tired kobolds have, you know, sat down around you. Kythar can smell the heavy scent of homebrewed alcohol filling the air, as you know, like wine skins and different like pony kegs are starting to get busted out. There's like singing happening around the campfire. In a couple of places there are kobolds like engaged in what appear to be like duels or like brawls of some kind. You know, in the same way that everybody's giving you guys space, everybody's also giving the priests space, which are kind of, you know, like around the outer perimeter of the chamber from you. And, you know, there's the tunnel you came through, and then there appear to be a few options for, like, tunnels to continue heading down towards, but nobody's going to be doing that until tomorrow. So where do we find the party here, as, you know, Simone has just gotten done having this conversation with the priests where, you know, he told them, like, you guys need to go back to your city and wait for the dragons to show up, and they're like, we're following you to where the dragons are. Like, we're all really excited to meet dragons. And Simone's like, you guys kind of feel like we have to really hold your hand, and you're not really, don't really know what you're doing. And the priests are like, no, we know what we're doing, but you're right. The rest of them have no fucking clue and super need to be directed and guided. You know, you guys are here. You have reason to believe you're going to continue tomorrow. There's been some talk about, like, collapsing the tunnel and, like, trying to trap some of these kobolds or at least slow them down behind you. But at this point, you know, you've got your campsite set up. I'm assuming you're not set up under your lantern, because there's not a lot of reason for that, but you could be if you wanted to. Where do we kind of find all of you guys? You know, Atesk and Simone have been, you know, masquerading as your guys' like captors, essentially, and the rest of you as, like, you know, chattel, essentially. So, you know, as the camera kind of pans to your campsite, what are Atesk and Simone doing, and then what is everybody else doing?
I'm going to be like over in the corner with Atesk, and then like away from them, you know. And I'm gonna tell Atesk and be like, "Hey fool, we gotta sneak the fuck out of here tonight. We gotta get a head start, fool."
Yeah, I can have an idea.
Okay.
I can use maybe one of my spells and scout. Oh, yeah, and scout out, you know, up the tunnels, and then once we figure it out, I could just teleport us there. Because I've been there. I've seen it, so I could just.
I'm gonna be like, "Are you the guy to be scouting out? Like, should we have one of these putos do that? The sneaky puto, And I'm gonna kind of look towards Galfast, who has, teeth just sticking out of his mouth like a fucking anglerfish.
Okay, just because I don't brush
Well-
them.
I've got this spell. The one I've been talking about this whole time.
Kythar has a suggestion.
Shut up, dog!
Alright, I'm killing him
And
tonight.
so I got this spell, and it creates like an invisible eye, and I can just go wherever I want with it.
Oh,
Just pretend I'm meditating.
well, why didn't you say that before?
Well, I did. I said once we got to the city, I'd use it,
Yeah,
and then all
but
this
we're-
stuff happened.
but we're
It got
outside of the
really got
city.
out of hand. And I've been thinking about what we can do this whole time, and now I figured it out. So what do you think?
I mean, that's a good idea.
Okay. And
I think what I'll do is I'll go over there and I'll have Will blowing fire, and maybe I can do an illusion thing. I'll figure something out.
sure, yeah, do what you gotta do.
And then I'm gonna walk over to the party.
Where does Simone find the party? Kythar, Galfast, Rowan. What are you guys doing? Kind of as you've been left to your own devices.
Looking at the other camps as they're setting up, are people like pulling out, like making little fires and making meals, or is it like mostly like trail food?
No, yeah, like pretty much everybody's. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a mixture, but yeah, there's a lot happening and a lot of food being made right now for sure.
I feel like Galfast has a fire, and this is like he's making a dinner, and I think this is the first hot meal we've had since July.
Mic off. Mic on.
Okay, so I'm making plates, and I'm handing like big plates to everyone, and then I'm gonna make a very small, lightly portioned plate for, everyone's eating, and I'm handing the lightly portioned plates to, Tesk and Simone, and I said, both of you specifically requested, you're trying to watch your figure so you don't become portly, so I made you less food, Your Highness.
And I'm gonna go, shut up, dog, and I'm gonna spit on Rowan.
You just see Rowan just kind of sitting there, kind of starting to cry a little bit.
He's such a sensitive soul.
Hythar is gonna take out his hammer, his war hammer, and start polishing it with a what's that face from the dude from Full Metal Jacket, like in the fucking toilet scene?
Looking through his eyebrows?
6,
Yeah.
2, Full Metal. Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't wait to fucking shoot you through the chest.
Oh man. And Rowan, after being spit on, where do we find you, friend?
He's just kind of sulking off to the side, trying to see what everybody else is doing.
Oh, buddy.
If Galfast is going to sit down and start eating, he might sit next to the wherever he's preparing food and just kind of sit there, just kind of sad.
I'm gonna say, Rowan, you've spit on you. What is that about? What's going on? What's up with you and Simone?
I don't know. And he's not calling me Puto, so I think I did something wrong.
I don't know. You've been pretty good. I think this is all. I think he's working through something. I think Simone, he always wants to be the leader, and now it's like his big
I
time
do.
to shine. So I think it's mostly him working through something. Rowan, I think you're fine.
Okay, I'll take it in stride.
With this, Simone approaches the campsite.
And it'd be like, just kind of yelling out, like, I'm gonna be expounding some things, like, Saltwing is, is going to be your new master now, and, I'm gonna go, and in the beginning, Saltwing and I'm gonna kind of lean down, and be like, "We gotta sneak the fuck out of here, fools." And yes, Saltwing. Then after they're conquered, do you guys have any fucking ideas how to do it?
I say,
Third idea.
And it'd
What's
be
your
like,
idea,
Kaithar,
you don't have to say you have an idea.
Kaithar,
You
you
could
see
just
the
tell us
rest
your
of
idea.
you see the rest of the party like nervously eyeing each other as you say you have an idea. They're all like, all right.
Why don't we blow up the tunnel?
That is an idea, but he did say the word sneak as my only bugaboo with what your idea is, Kaithar.
Well,
Really
we
good
sneak
try.
away. We sneak away so far, but blow up tunnels so no find.
You know, you used like a compound syllable like 10 sentences ago.
I
And
don't know
now
what the
we're-
fuck you guys made me. All right,
Hey, you make yourself. You're
Anthony played me apparently as a fucking ignoramus.
hey, to be fair,
I'm
you
still.
leave your character-
I have average fucking intelligence on my fucking. I
you're
don't give
average.
a shit. It's 0. It's a 0 modifier, so there's nothing negative or positive about it. It's fucking average. So Kaithar talking in a normal fucking sentence.
The reason why we say that is because a few weeks ago you go, "Me no do that." And so we
Yeah, and then you
assumed-
pooped your pants. So
Kaithar is a man. I don't know. Fucking. I'd be more
Here we
truthful
go.
if I was a druid. Okay, never mind.
Here
He's
we
off the
go.
cuff kind of. He's off the cuff kind of guy.
Oh, okay, all right. And so then, and it'd be like, and that's when Saltwing came in and destroyed them. And it'd be like, Atesk is scouting out the tunnels in front of us, Putos, to figure out which one, to fucking go down.
well, so should we get like half a night of sleep and then, after our partial night, wake up at like 2 a.m. and then go? What do you guys think?
I'm gonna be like, I don't know if these putos even, have to really worry about sleep. I mean, they're in the Underdark. I don't even know how much they sleep.
Everybody's got to sleep.
I'm gonna be like, I think we need to we're gonna have to, put up with a little discomfort, fool. And that's when you will be chained you'll be chained to his horde and made his concubines.
Galfast blushes. Okay, but yeah, so okay, if they don't have to sleep, then what's the harm in us getting a few hours?
Say, I don't know, fool. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah, see, now you say you don't know. This is big character development from you.
Fool, I was out there saving your life. You should be
I'm
thanking
fine.
me. Exactly.
At any moment, I could blend into my surroundings and disappear. Yeah, I mean we can sneak off. Yeah, that's my specialty. I mean, they're going to notice that we're gone and send after us quite quickly, so we still have that issue.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, but we'll be long gone by then, right?
Yeah, but if they don't sleep, they're going to notice within 30 minutes that we're not here, unless we have
that's why, fool. I was thinking we pick a lane and put up the lantern.
Who's Elaine?
No, pick. Okay.
Got him. You spit on the DM.
Quiet, dog.
The cave trembles. Rocks begin to fall from the ceiling. It floods. Everybody drowns. No, I'm just kidding. So Simone just said, he's pitching. That's the whole thing. We're gonna pick a lane and we're gonna go.
That's what I'm pitching right now. I have to go grab Nolan really quick, so
Cool.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're solid.
Yeah, we could leave the lantern. That is one option.
David, can I start scouting out the tunnels?
100%. Yeah. What's your duration on your eye? How long do you have?
As long as I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Then, I mean, how far down each of the tunnels are you? Like, if you travel a tunnel for an hour and you don't get to the end of it, like, what do you do at that point? You know what I mean? Like, how far down are you going?
I guess. I mean, do I? There's 3 tunnels. You said.
There's 3 tunnels.
Do any of them look more like they go up than, or look like they might lead out than the others?
Yeah, I mean, the center tunnel is like obviously the most used and like primary kind of space.
Okay. Yeah, I'll scout that one first, and I'll go as far as I can. And if I don't find anything in a couple hours, maybe I'll dismiss it and summon it again. Go down a different tunnel.
Cool. Sounds good. I guess that's kind of what I'm asking you, is because the implication is that you'll get there sometime the next day, but like it's gonna be a while, and like if you spend 3 hours going down one tunnel, 3 hours going down another tunnel, and 3 hours going down the last tunnel, that's 9 hours. Everybody's gonna be awake, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get from you kind of like where your limits are, what your plan is. It sounds like you're trying to devote most of your time to the primary, and then you're going to just kind of like look at the secondary and all that. Are you trying to operate on Aaron's like 2 a.m. timetable, like 4-ish hours from now, trying to be like ready and have determination made?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to push. I guess I want to, because I'm assuming that it's going to take us a while to get down there. It's not going to be like, 10 minutes and I got it. It's probably going to be a couple hours at the very least. So
Right. It just also sounded like part of what you wanted to do was to be able to see it, to teleport the group there. And if that's the case, then obviously the longer you spend on each individual tunnel, the more distance you'll be able to cover. So it sounds like you're putting most of your eggs in that center basket and leaving yourself a couple other options from like a logistical standpoint. Because I mean, cards on the table,
logistically,
you could go
that's
down each of
basically,
these tunnels for 4 hours and not hit the end of it. So you know what I mean? Like, I just kind of need to know from a distance standpoint how deep you're getting into these tunnels on the off chance that that's what you guys end up doing. You know what I mean? So you go 3 hours down this primary tunnel, you don't see any kind of like obvious end to it, but it does like pretty sharply uptick towards the surface, whereas the other two are much more like gentle slopes. And you like get the sense that the center one is the closest in proximity to the surface, and then the two on the other side, like, I'm sure also go to the surface, but like they, I think, are going to like take you longer until you get to that point, and you just kind of like get a sense of that based on how quickly how steep the incline is on the first one compared to the other two. But what's the move speed on that thing? I actually just found a very useful chart for some of that stuff. Does it just share your 30 feet, or does it move faster?
you move the eye up to 30 feet.
Okay. So that is, so 30 feet is 3 miles per hour, is what my chart says here. So if you're going to go down that first tunnel for 3 hours, that equates to, 9 miles that you go down that tunnel. And then if you split the last hour down the other two, you can get half a mile down each of the other tunnels.
As long as the middle one just keeps going up, I'm just going to keep going down that one. I won't do any
great.
other tunnels.
Yeah, then you can continue down the first one for all 4 hours to get 12 miles up the tunnel. And it's still, to put it in perspective, a full travel day would be like twice that, roughly 24 miles is kind of what you guys do walking in a day. So you have gotten to where you would get in like a lunch break kind of situation on this tunnel, 10, 12 miles down before, the witching hour, dawns, and it's like time for you guys to execute whatever plan you're going to proceed with. But yeah, I mean, it definitely primarily heads up. They all, or I guess, there continues to be this like cave carving, along each side. That like picks up again down this channel. And I don't think you get to the point to where like light is physically streaming in or anything. But you've gone, of the 12 miles you've gone, you've probably, 3 or 4 of those miles were straight up kind of thing.
Gotcha. I'd keep going until somebody in the party
Cool. So
tells
Galfast,
me it's ready.
you've been kind of like pitching this half sleep. From a mechanical standpoint, if any of you guys want to either treat wounds or refocus, those can be done in like 10-minute stints, which is kind of what replaced short rest in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And then everybody's going to end up being fatigued for this next section because at this point you've been conscious for long enough that we're just going to have that fatigue modifier as we kind of take off on our next stretch. But you guys can, anybody who has focus spells can refocus to like get those back, and then anybody who's lost hit points could in theory treat wounds to do that, and that's kind of the thing that you can do in the few hours you have. From a mechanical standpoint, from a narrative standpoint, of course, you guys tell me what your characters do during that time. Did everybody just kind of like grab some shut-eye and wait? Is Galfast, sound asleep? Is a test going to keep going because nobody's there to stop him? What are you guys doing? It's a story we tell together. This game is. I will say that at this point, many of the kobolds are asleep, but there are still like, like that late night party energy where like a lot of people have gone to sleep, but there's still like kobolds around a few of these select campfires, like telling stories and this and that.
And you said that mechanically, there's no such thing. We can't get like a partial sleep. It's just
no, yeah. It's an all or nothing in 2E. You go, if you're conscious for 16 hours and you don't get 8 in a row to rest, you're just fatigued.
Okay, that's fine. So Reed is going to do a treat wounds because he's down on some health.
Cool, solid.
And I don't want to get in trouble with him.
That's rolling a medicine check to beat a DC of, I believe, 20 or higher, depending on if you're trained or an expert or any of that fucking shit in medicine.
He's trained. I think that beats it.
Yeah, so that beats it. So, give me a second. Treat wounds. Because this is one of the cases where I want to say the program and the Archives of Nethys are different on how treat wounds works. He only has to beat a DC of 15. He gets 2d8 on a success, or 4d8 because you critted. So you get 4d8 healing for him for that treat wounds.
4d8 healing. Okay, I'll roll that in a second. And then for me, I feel like so Galfast doesn't get any sleep, but he's he is asleep for the game, and he has his alarm set for I guess a few hours.
So your Badger has nudged you awake. It's like that time that he's your alarm that you've set to wake you up.
Hit the snooze button.
Just hit him right in his snout.
Yeah. Snooze a few times. Okay, so I'm up, and it's been a few hours, and
Atesk is still meditating. He's still like in his magic meditation zone.
I am curious that there's smoke in this cavern. Is the smoke exiting through the tunnel that it's 3 tunnels? Is it taking the exit?
It's taking the middle exit primarily.
Okay. Atesk, can you hear me? Hello, Atesk. I'm gonna be waving my hands in front of his eyes that are probably bright blue.
Yeah, glazed over. Yeah.
Atesk, can you hear me at all?
Yes, what do you want?
Okay, I'm gonna say. How far did you make it?
Pretty far. I can't really. There's not that much to see, but it keeps going up.
Okay,
I
but there's
think
like
I could.
stairs.
Well, it's just a path that goes up.
Okay. How could you teleport us all in one go, or do you have to do it one at a time?
I mean, if you guys want to do the whole, jump in the thing, yeah,
Jump in the hole.
jump in the hole.
Jump in the hole.
And just as a heads up, mechanically, this is one of those times when I would make you roll every time until you got it correct for your hole. Because we've been kind of glazing over it, but I'm going to hard enforce that in this particular situation.
If not, you'd have to teleport us one at a time. Is that right? How would that even work?
I can't do that.
Okay, so we have to take the whole of random light and noise.
All or nothing.
The whole of random light and noise.
That's the only way.
Okay.
How big is the entrance of one of these caverns or the paths?
They're equitable, so 20 feet in diameter, roughly.
Okay. The reason why is because these are 20 feet in diameter.
Yeah, so they're about as big as the path was at its smallest point, moving forward.
How big does the lantern cover? How
Uh,
much space does the lantern cover?
I don't remember. It's like a 10-foot or a 15-foot. I mean, about that. I would say loosely it would cover most of the width of one of these tunnels, but it's a dome, so it definitely wouldn't cover the entire height of the tunnel. You know what I mean? You guys can stand comfortably under it, which means the dome is probably 6, 8, 10 feet tall. You know what I mean? So the lower, we'll say, not exactly, but roughly the lower half of one of these openings is what it would fill.
Okay. And then I would be like, hey, Tess, which fucking path do we take?
Middle one, I think. Seems like the right way.
How about we go camp out in front of there and then set up the lantern?
Do you want to just leave it there?
I mean, if there's one way for us to, escape, we might have to leave it there.
What a sacrifice.
Yeah, but how would that? So you want to leave it and then walk off, or teleport into the cover?
I'd say we then sneak off.
What's the advantage of leaving it though? Because we're gone.
It covers our position, right? Sorry, have we already camped? Have we already? Is it like
You
the middle of the
guys?
night right now?
Yeah, it's the middle of the night. You guys are 4 hours
okay,
into.
so we're already past that.
You guys are 4
There's
hours
no
into the
camp.
long rest.
Gotcha. Okay.
But there's
I
no
thought-
rest. There's no rest.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
To the Kobold Company's long rest.
Okay. And what are they?
Most of them are sleeping. I described it as when a party starts to peter out. You know what I mean? How there's still 10% of the people who are kind of around campfires. Here and there, telling stories or being real drunk or whatever. You know what I mean? It's most of them are all asleep, but there are still a few conscious kobolds. Of the 300 to 500 kobolds that fit in this chamber, maybe 50 of them are still awake, maybe less. Less every minute kind of thing.
What idea did you guys have?
Well, we're still talking about it. So we're thinking about teleporting, and it sounds like we have to use the hole. So my thought is, we put the lantern up, turn it on, And then, it's dark in here. They're not going to notice, the change. And then I can open up the hole inside of the lantern until, it'll be. It's not always the pocket dimension that I want, right? Sometimes there's unwanted dimensions that open up. So I'll open it inside the lantern until we get the correct one, and then I'll grab the lantern. We all hop in, and then we get teleported. There'll be no colors. Should be no sounds, right? It blocks all sounds. We'll still get the lantern. And there'll be normalizer.
That sounds good to me. Let's go.
Oh, you're not going to spit on anybody?
Fool, that was all just an act. Can't you get that through your head? I was selling it, fool.
Tell that to Rowan. He's got big old tufts in his hair, hard tufts in his hair.
I'm gonna cast Predecitation to clean him up.
Aww. Oh, nice.
And be like, sorry, fool, I had to sell it. When I get into character, I really get into character.
It's okay.
But no, you're all cleaned up now, though.
You also hurt his feelings. Yeah.
I also hurt his feelings.
A hug would be nice.
And I'm gonna go up and give him a hug.
Oh.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna tap his back. I'm sorry, fool.
Ooh,
It's
talking
okay.
sucks.
I was just trying to get us out of here, fool. By any means necessary.
Thank you.
We see a priest looking at us from across the way.
We're inside the invisible thing.
All right. We set it up.
Nobody said they did, but we're kind of in a loose cinematic space. So you talked about the plan. I think it's safe to assume that somebody busted it out. It does take 10 minutes as a reminder, but 10 minutes later, the lantern is up. Aaron, because you have sussed out the important part of why I was going to have you roll, but now that you are going to do so under the dome, that kind of time constraint is lessened. So I actually am not going to ask you to roll. You can if you want to. I'm not going to take that fun away from you. But you know what I mean? It's like I will give you a pass if you want to just say, you snap through it a couple of times until you hit the correct dimension, because you're correct. There is no, from your guys' experience with the dome, that's how it works. So, kudos to your creative problem solving. It sounds like your guys' plan is to hop in a Tesk's pocket to travel 12 miles down the tunnel. If you guys want to do that, just say it's time to go.
It's time
to go.
Okay.
Get me the fuck out of here.
Great. Then this, you guys snap this a couple of times to get to the correct dimension. You guys all hop in. A Tesk, you are sitting under this dome with the hole your friends have just disappeared into. What do you do?
Here you go, kobolds.
I throw it. No. I teleport us as far as I can get within my magical ability.
Okay, so you are picking up the portable hole and teleporting.
I'm also going to pick up the lantern as I teleport out as well.
As soon as the lantern is moved, it stops working. So I will allow you to put one kind of hand on it and teleport so that it moves via temporal space. Absolutely. I just need to hear you say that you were not forgetting the lantern. Yeah. I was absolutely setting you up to trap you into leaving that shit behind. But I'm, props.
I knew what you wanted.
Props, kudos. Props, kudos. I just did that Arcana check from you to see if you can hit that range.
I would like to use my last hero point.
You should absolutely do that in this situation, I believe, my friend. This is an important one. This is going to be your head.
It can be public because.
Yep. Let's see here. What we say? 25 was to double it, and then 2 up for every 2 miles after. So I think your normal is 3 miles, so double is 6. Is that right?
I think so.
If I remember correctly, that's the case. So 12 would be 27, 29, 31, I believe is what 12 would be. And then a 34?
I got a 34.
That covers it. And
Oh my
so
gosh.
I love that homebrew mechanic. Like, I really get a kick out of that. Because one of those things, like, you're going to do it most of the time, but, like, every once in a while, magic doesn't work quite right. You know what I mean? And you really are, like, pushing past your limits to do this. So I love the, like, well, let's see if it works, you know, kind of thing. Because we have had one instance where you fell short and you did have to, like, recast it to get there.
But nobody knows about that.
True, because from their perspective, they're just in the hole the whole time, right?
Yeah, they have no idea.
So, yeah. So on that note, you guys all basically have to hold your breath because of how many of you are in the hole. But because it's an instant teleport, you know, it's literally one round, and you know that's not a issue for anybody. So you guys, you know, hold your breath for 30 seconds in this temporal space. A Tesk kind of blips you guys 12 miles up this tunnel, you know, snaps the hole a couple of times, dumps you guys out, and you guys know that it's, you know, that in 3 to 4 hours, the kobolds are going to be, like, waking up and getting ready to go, and that, you know, that will be the latest opportunity that somebody will realize you're gone. You know, you've created a significant head start for yourself, where everybody does have one level of fatigued. So you guys can just search for that under the compendium. Maybe I'll put it in chat for you so you can just put it on your stuff. But are you guys just going to kind of continue to go down? Fuck. Excuse me. Thank you. Are you guys going to just kind of continue to go down the tunnel?
Should Kaithar is gonna recommend again? Blow up tunnel now?
How?
Yeah. Can we?
I'm looking at fucking task here.
I can't.
Okay. Galfast will look at the tunnel and see if this is an area that could be easily knocked down, or is it mostly the same? It's going to take.
It's largely the same, but because you have enough time at this point, like, you can kind of, like, travel up the tunnel a little bit and just, like, you can, like, two birds, one stone it. Like, you guys can kind of, like, continue moving up and out, and then whenever you hit one of those sharp bends, like, at a certain point, you'll hit one of those sharp bends that is kind of one of those opportune places to do this. So I will say that, you know, after, and, you know, give me a survival check. We'll see how long it takes you to find that. Time's a little bit of a factor here.
I don't know if this matters right now, but I can't try to add fatigue to since I don't have access to the macros. I don't have permission.
You just add it to your.
I think you
your
drag.
character.
Oh, thank you, Tyler, for figuring that out. We could also just manually do it. It's a -1. You can just. It's up to you.
Yeah, I literally try to drag it in.
I think you might have to drag it to your bar below.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And then
Press
drag
number 2.
and then drag it from there onto your character. But you don't have a character on this, so like I think that I might have to physically put you on before you can, and then you can like drag it onto your tile. I think it's the way that works, maybe.
I dropped it on my. I picked it up out of the compendium and dropped it on my character sheet.
Okay, cool. So that's how you do that. Thank you, Tyler, for helping us with the technical bit. Okay, so you guys go. You find kind of one of these like weak points where it's going to be your like best bet to kind of blow this chamber. How are you doing that, my friend?
I rolled my survival check. Was that for this, or is this a separate check?
That was to see how quickly you are able to find one, and on a 22, you know, it probably takes you a full 45 to like find another point like this, but you do find a collapsible spot within the hour of traveling.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say here's as good a spot as any if we're trying to, bring the place down. As to how to do it, Nah, you're gonna have to look elsewhere. It'd take a crew of dwarves to do it.
Yeah, and they're not dwarves. Like, you look around, there's enough manpower here to do it, but these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. You'd have to walk them through every step of it.
And I don't have any spells.
I mean, we gotta get fucking going, fool.
All right.
Yeah, or we can just split.
Yeah, that 45 minutes you took to find this was literally heading up and out, you know what I mean, before you got to that point. So you've been traveling outward while you've been looking for this spot.
Okay,
Yeah.
run then.
And we are on our way out.
Cool. Kythar said run. I mean, are you guys physically running, or are you guys just walking?
I would just be walking, or like walking. but, like,
Regular
hustling.
travel speed, yeah.
Brisk.
Yeah, brisk. Yeah.
Cool, sounds good. You guys got 12 miles down. That's how far it is. Yeah, I'm going to say that with that, it's probably... You guys, of course, don't know because you're no longer back there. But if you had to guess loosely, right, like you are traveling for about as long as it takes for like the kobolds to start waking up, like behind you. Like that group is probably about to start mobilizing as you're like coming around a bend, and probably Rowan is the first one to notice a mosquito comes and lands on his arm and like sticks its nose in and starts like, making a meal out of Rowan. But Rowan knows that implies that you have gotten very close to the surface, and this has like wandered in from the outside world at some point.
Rowan's gonna hold up his arm and just go, "Oh, look, a friend. I think we're getting close to the surface."
That's,
Oh, go ahead.
no, that's good news.
Someone's gonna start hustling now.
As you guys all hustle and bustle, the air is still heavy with moisture, but it doesn't have that like earthy dampness to it. It has almost like a boggy nature to it. But you know what I mean? But as you're like moving, at first it's hard to tell because it's such a gradual change, but you guys realize that like your eyes are starting to hurt, and maybe you start to develop like a little bit of a headache, and it takes you a while. I don't know if Kythar ever figures it out, but some of the rest of you guys start to realize that's because you're like, it's in very small amounts, but your eyes are like seeing things under some version of natural light for the first time, right? And things are like beginning to brighten, and you guys have not seen anything that wasn't like a bioluminescent mushroom or a torch in a week. And as you guys snake your way out, and see the last turn, the last bend, before there is no more tunnel and there is no more bend, and the cave on each side, in all the like cracks and grooves and crevices, has this like kind of like slick algae moss stuff that's starting to like grow through it, and you can see there are like beads of water and like precipitation which are beginning to like form on the roof. One of them like drops and catches one of you on the cheek as you are making your way up, and you come around a final bend and are able to like make out an opening, a cave entrance, or in this case exit, and beyond it is, you know, hard to tell what's out there from inside as your eyes are like adjusting to this light. But you know, you guys have done it. You guys have come to the end of this, you know, of this journey here. Approximately another 3 or 4 hours of travel after your, you know, teleporting incident. You know, I'm assuming we're all like you know, I'll take the narrative moment, but I'm assuming we're all like busting out and are very excited to hit ground again.
Yes.
Then as we do that, and this is actually going to be perfect timing because we're probably gonna wrap up the session right now. But as we exit this space, everybody's eyes, it's like a fallout moment, right? Everybody like puts their hands up over their eyes as they adjust to, you know, the sun, the midday sun. You know what I mean? It's like to you guys, you've woken up after, you know, traveling or whatever, and kind of expected to see, you know, maybe like the sun rise, but in the complete lost of track of time and the endless day-night cycles, like you guys have shifted. And you're off by like 6 or 8 hours, and you know the sun is like past noon. It's probably like 2 or 3, you know, p.m. at this point, when you were expecting it to be like 6 in the morning, kind of thing. So it's just like this kind of like disorienting, jarring process of the sun being high in the sky, and as you guys exit this space and your eyes adjust, you're able to make out some buildings, some structures with wooden platforms connecting them. One of these has been like completely demolished and destroyed. The entire compound sits on like a lake of some kind in this boggy, marshy background. And Simone and Atesk and Reed all know exactly where you are, because it's where you all met. As you emerge in Nox's compound, just outside the ruined city of Irrigan, back in the marshlands.
Oh, there and back again.
And that I think is where...
This group too.
Was Kythar part of the original?
Yeah.
Okay, then Kythar also, of course, recognizes, you know, depending on how good his memory is, he's had a lot to drink since the last time he was here, so maybe he doesn't recognize it. I don't know.
I've been down there for a month. I was so okay. I literally went through withdrawals, silently and
It's got the shakes.
Battling. After a week or two, I'm done with the shakes.
And slowly taking little sips off of Simone's stash in his bag without him looking.
Oh, funny. And giving little Scooby snack capfuls of liquor to get him to do stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet. So then this will be the end of the session. We'll start next session with you guys kind of like landing in this spot. Anthony, you called it, my guy. It was so hard for me to bite my tongue. You're like, you described it as like this nether thing, so who knows where we're gonna come out and like how far we're gonna have traveled. And I was like, I was trying so hard to like control my face when you said that. I was like, yeah, it could be in. You know what I mean? It's like
ruined it.
Oh,
Ruined it.
So you guys will start kind of here with the Kobold army, you know, realistically only a few hours behind you. The team will be exhausted, fatigued, at least have a loose idea of where they are, you know, but this will be the start of the session. Thanks for playing, guys. This is great.
Maybe we can find our old buddies, you know, the lizard people of the swamp.
There's been a big misunderstanding.
I know, just walk up. Hey, bros, how you been?
I know, right? Here's some needle and some thread. Don't kill us.
Right, you guys like metal shit, right? Here, yeah. Cool.
Funny.
Well, sweet. Then that's tonight's session. Thanks, guys, for, you know, being flexible so that we can make it happen tonight with some people coming late and all that stuff. And, you know, congratulations on making your way through probably the like most heavily diplomatic section of the campaign that we have had for a while. And you know, you're back in familiar territory. I'm really excited for you to be here again as level 10 characters instead of level 3 characters, right? Like, I think that'll be very fun for you guys. But yeah, we'll pick it up next week, assuming everybody can make it. And I'm really excited.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Cool.
David, for
Cool.
running it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Later.
See you. Bye. Okay, guys. This is probably the only one here, but you never know. Let's check it out. Nope, that's Discord. That's not Twitch. That's Twitch. Survey says yes, I'm live. I'd like to go to my stream manager and see who all is here. One viewer, so it's either me or it is a task, Tyler. So we're great. You're great. See ya.